Assalamu alaikum, dear students. My name is Zahir Shah and I will teach you biology. So we will follow the new syllabus of the KP secondary education, and we will start from the chapter number first, that is the cell structure and function. So first topic in this chapter is cell wall. Cell wall, as the name indicates, the wall of the cell. In your previous classes you have learned about the cell, that what is cell. Cell is the basic unit of structure and function of all living organism. But in the case of certain organism, the cell is covered by a thick, stiff and rigid wall that is called the cell wall. These organisms, they are plants, they are fungi and they are bacteria. So these organisms, their cells, they are surrounded by a wall which is called cell wall. Now, who discovered this important structure in the cell? It was Robert Hooke, who also discovered the cell. That is, it was Robert Hooke in 1665 who discovered not only the cell but also the cell wall. According to his finding, when he saw the dead pieces of cork under his microscope, so he saw empty structure and he called them as cells. And according to his finding, these empty structures are compartments or boxes. They are covered by a thick wall which he later on named the cell wall. So who discovered the cell wall? It was Robert Hooke in 1665 who discovered this important structure in the case of what? Certain organisms, especially in the plants, but this important structure is also present in bacteria and fungi. Now, from where this important structure is secreted? It is secreted or originated from the protoplasm. This important structure is secreted by the protoplasm. What is protoplasm? Protoplasm is the living content or living material of the cell, or the material from which a cell is made up of is called protoplasm. Protoplasm is the combination of nucleus plus cytoplasm. So this important structure, cell wall, is secreted by a living protoplasm. Later on, cell wall become dead, but at its first stage or initial stage, it is living, but later on it become dead, but still it perform its function, that it protect the cell from various kinds of injuries, various kinds of environmental condition, because of its thickness, because of its stiffness and rigidness. The cell wall is surrounded by individual cells, that is, the cell either separated from the tissue or the part of tissue. These cells, they are covered by or surrounded by a cell wall. So cell wall in different cells, they are different in thickness, chemical composition, because as the plants mature, so the cell wall changes its thickness, its different properties, they are changed with the time of age as the plant get mature. Now, a typical plant cell wall consists of different components. Components are parts of the cell wall. So a cell wall consists of three basic components. That is, first is medulla lamella, middle lamella. Second is primary wall, that is primary cell wall. Third is secondary wall or secondary cell wall. So a cell wall of plant is consist of these three components, that is middle lamella, primary wall and secondary wall. These are the three components of the plant cell wall. For example, these are the different cells of the plants. These are the different cells of the plants at the time of its origination. So each cell is surrounded by a cell membrane. This is the cell membrane. This is the cytoplasm. So the first formed wall between the neighboring adjacent cells which are not yet mature, these cells, they are covered by a layer which is called middle lamella, which is indicated by red line. So red line indicate the first layer of the plant, that is cell wall, that is called the middle lamella. Middle lamella is a thin layer which hold together different cells, neighboring cells together. So it is just like a cementing material. Middle lamella here act like a cementing material. Just like the cement stick together different bricks in the formation of a wall, similarly middle lamella act as a cementing material to hold these young neighboring cells together. So it is also a binding material because of its stickiness, because it have glow-like property, and this glow-like property is because of what? This glow-like property in middle lamella is because of what? A chemical substance which is called pectin. Pectin is a fiber. Pectin is a fiber or heteropolysaccharide, and this pectin is present in the form of what? Salts, that is calcium pectate, and magnesium pectate. So these salts, pectin is present in the form of what? Pectic compound or pectate salt, mainly calcium pectate. And because of calcium pectate, middle lamella have cementing or binding or sticky or glow-like material which held these young neighboring cells together, and it is present outside from the plant cells. So this is called middle lamella, as the name indicate, middle, in between. Lamella mean layers. So these are layer-like structure which is present in between the neighboring young cells of the plants, and it is present outside of the young cells which held these cells together, just like cement held together or stick together brick in the formation of a wall. So this is called middle lamella, which is the first form layer. Later on, this middle lamella is changed into hard-like substances when the plant get its maturity or when the plant become mature. So this middle lamella is no more remain in between the neighboring cells because the cells get maturity. Then the second layer is called the primary wall. Primary wall, this is the cell membrane and this is the primary wall, which is indicated by the green line. These are the primary wall. Primary wall is the first form wall which surround the cells, and it is outside in formation. Its formation occurs outside from the cell, that is outside from the cell membrane. So this is called the primary wall. Primary wall. One thing should be remembered, that middle lamella is very thin. Its diameter is only 1 micrometer. Its diameter is only 1 micrometer. Chemical composition is pectin in the form of what? Pectic compound in the form of calcium pectate, which are salts. Then the primary wall is, what is its thickness? Its thickness indicate that it is 1 to 3 micrometer in thickness. In some plants parts, this primary wall is the only wall, because there is no more secretion or deposition of the secondary wall, which is much stiffer, thicker and rigid as compared to the primary wall. So primary wall is the only wall in majority of the plant parts which are especially succulent, which are soft in texture. So primary wall is thicker as compared to the middle lamella, because it is 1 to 3 micrometer in diameter. If we see its chemical composition, so chemical composition suggests that it is consist of, again, pectin, which is a heteropolysaccharide or fiber present in plants. Pectin is a heteropolysaccharide and a fiber present in majority of the plants or fruits, which is also present in apple. Pectin, and beside the pectin, it also contains cellulose, which is the main component of the cell wall of the plant. In fact, this is the most abundant carbohydrate or biomolecules in nature, which is present in the cell wall of plants, cellulose. Besides cellulose, the primary wall also contains hemicellulose. Hemicellulose is a type of what? Carbohydrate or heteropolysaccharide, which is present in the form of fragments, and it is alkali soluble. It is only soluble in alkali, and this cellulose is present in crisscross fashion or crisscross manner, which give strength to the cell wall of the plant, especially those parts which have only wall, that is the primary wall. So primary wall is mainly consist of pectin, cellulose, hemicellulose. These are the main components of the primary wall, and it is 1 to 3 micrometer in thickness or diameter. Other properties, there are other properties of primary cell wall, because primary cell wall is elastic in nature. That is why it is extendable. Extendable mean it can spread, because the number of cells they are increased. So that is why it have elasticity. This is extendable, and also it is present in the form of what? Crystal. It is crystalline. Crystalline is because of what? Pectin in the form of calcium pectate or salts. And also another property is it is optically active. Optically active means optical activity is the characteristic or property of a chiral molecule which can rotate the plane of polarized light. So that is why this property is called optical activity. Optical activity is a property or characteristic of a chiral molecule by which this molecule can rotate the plane of polarized light towards the right direction or towards the left direction. So these are the properties of what? Primary wall. It is elastic, extendable, crystalline, optically active. As I told you, in some plants parts, primary wall is the only wall. There is no secretion of the further wall, that is called the secondary wall. Then the third component of the cell wall is the secondary wall. Secondary wall formation lays down inside in the plant, that is after the primary wall. This is the secondary wall. Secondary wall formation, this is the secondary wall. So secondary wall formation takes place after the primary wall. Primary wall, first is the primary wall, then after the primary wall at the inner side of the cell, secondary wall formation takes place. This is the secondary wall. Secondary wall is totally different from the primary wall in its thickness and its chemical composition and also its function. So secondary wall, if we talk about its thickness, so as I told you that it is much stiffer, thicker and rigid as compared to the primary wall and as compared to the middle lamella, because it is 5 to 10 micrometer in diameter. So if we compare its thickness with the primary wall and the middle lamella is only 1 micrometer in thickness. Primary wall is 1 to 3 micrometer in thickness. But if we compare thickness of the middle lamella in the primary wall with the secondary wall, so it is much thicker, stiffer and rigid because of what? Its diameter, which is 5 to 10 micrometer in diameter. So that is why it provides much protection as compared to the primary wall and the middle lamella. So let's see its chemical composition. Chemical composition suggests that it is mainly consists of cellulose, which is the main component of the plant cell wall. Cellulose is the main component of the plant cell wall. Besides cellulose, it also contains hemicellulose or non-cellulose. Non-cellulosic material is also present. Non-cellulosic material, for example, cereals, that is glucan and arabinose, they are called non-cellulosic material. Typical example of non-cellulosic material is the material present in the cereals. Cereals, they are wheat, maize, grain, rice. Beside the non-cellulosic material, the cell wall also contains different kinds of what? Salts. That is salts of calcium, salts of magnesium and salts of sodium, they are also present, because beside the salts, some of the plant cell wall also have silica, which give shiny and coarse appearance to the cell wall of these plants. So this is all about the cell wall. That is, cell wall is a thick, stiff layer which surround the cell wall of what? Plants, bacteria and fungi. Who discovered this important structure? It was discovered by Robert Hooke in 1665. Origin is protoplasm. Protoplasm is the living content of the cell, that is a combination of cytoplasm and nucleus, but later on it become dead due to the deposition of what? Lignin. The process of deposition of lignin is called lignification. and lignification start from the outer side to the center. So that is why the whole cell is covered by lignin, and the process is called lignification. Because of the lignin deposition or lignification, the cell wall become dead, but it is secreted by a living protoplasm. Then different components, that is, a cell wall is consist of three main components, that is middle lamella, primary wall and secondary wall. Middle lamella is the first formed layer in the neighboring or young cells which held these cells together, just like a cement hold bricks for the formation of wood wall, and it is thin, about 1 micrometer in diameter. And chemical composition suggests that middle lamella is consist of what? Pectin. Pectin is a heteropolysaccharide, a fiber found in the fruits. Then primary wall, next to the cell membrane, the formation of primary wall occur, and in some parts, in some plant parts, this is the only wall which exists until they are deposited by lignin or lignification. The primary wall, the thickness suggests that it is 1 to 3 micrometer in diameter, and chemical composition suggests that it is consists of what? Pectin, cellulose, hemicellulose. Property is it is elastic, extendable, crystalline, crystal-like property, and optically active because it can pass the plane of polarized light. After the formation of what? Primary wall in some plants, in some plant tissue or in some plant cell, next to the primary wall at the inner side, secondary wall formation occurs, and secondary wall is much thicker, stiffer and rigid as compared to the primary wall and middle lamella, and it is 5 to 10 micrometer. Chemical composition suggests that it is consists of cellulose, hemicellulose, non-cellulosic material, for example in the cereals, that is glucan, cereals, arabinose, etc. Salts they are present, that is salts of calcium, salts of magnesium and salts of sodium. Besides salts, some cell wall of the plant also deposited with the silica, which give shiny and coarse appearance to the cell wall. Now, what is the significance of the commercial use of what? Commercial uses of the cell wall. So, cell wall is mainly used in the paper making. Then they are used in the fabric, that is fabric of cotton, fabric of rayon, fabric of linen cloth. They are the product of what? Cell wall. Also cellophane, a semi-permeable membrane is also the product of what? Cell wall. Gunpowder, nitrocellulose, which is also called gunpowder, is also a product of what? Plant cell wall. So we were discussing about the cell wall. At the end, what are the commercial uses of plant cell wall? So plant cell wall and its product, they are used in the paper making, they are used in the fabric, different kinds of fabric, that is cotton, linen. They are made of what? Plant cell wall. Cellophane, a semi-permeable membrane, is also a product of plant cell wall. Gunpowder, which is an explosive, that is nitrocellulose. When cellulose is treated with the nitric oxide, with the HNO3, so it become an explosive which is called gunpowder. Similarly, plastic, that is celluloid, they are the product of what? Celluloid is a plastic-like material used in a cinematography. So these are the product of what? Commercial uses of cell wall. Dear students, after the discussion of the cell wall, our next topic for discussion is plasma membrane or cell membrane. So what is the definition of plasma membrane or cell membrane? The outermost boundary of the animal cell. Cell membrane is the outermost boundary of the animal cell, but in the case of plant cell, this is the secondmost boundary, because in the case of plant cell, cell wall is the exterior boundary, and beneath the cell wall, cell membrane is the second layer which cover the cell. So cell membrane is the membrane which surround all the living cells, if they are prokaryotic or if they are eukaryotic cells, plant cells, animal cells, fungal cells, bacterial cells, algal cells, they are covered by cell wall. But in the case of plants, in the case of bacteria, in the case of fungi, cell membrane is the second layer which lies beneath the cell wall. But in the case of animal cell, this is the outermost layer, outermost boundary which surround the cell. Now, what is the chemical composition of this important structure? Because any damage to the cell membrane can cause the death of that individual possessing cell membrane. So what is the chemical composition? The chemical composition suggests that cell membrane or plasma membrane is composed of protein, which is the major portion, because the major portion or component or chemical component in the cell membrane is protein, and by percentage it is 60 to 80%. 60 to 80%. Next is lipids. Lipids, they are 20 to 40%. This is the second most abundant chemical component of the cell membrane. Besides lipids, small amount of carbohydrate is also present in less quantity, but it play a major role. It play a crucial role in maintaining the integrity and the functional diversity of the function of the cell membrane. Cholesterol is absent in the case of plant cell, but in some cases a minute amount of cholesterol is present. Otherwise, cholesterol is abundantly present in the animal cell, but in the case of plant cell, it is either absent or it is present in very negligible or in minute quantity. Now, third topic is structural model of the cell membrane. Many biologists contributed to establish the structural model of the plasma membrane and cell membrane, because it is evident from the chronological development towards the fluid mosaic model, which is given in the tidbit in your textbook, because different scientists, different biologists contributed to establish the model or structure of the possible model of the plasma membrane and cell membrane, that is Gorter, Dennelly, Dawson, and the most acceptable model, which is revealed from the electron microscopy. This is called fluid mosaic model, the most acceptable model, because there are other models, that is unit membrane model, the bi-layer model and other models, because it is evident from the chronological development towards the fluid mosaic model, and the most acceptable model is fluid mosaic model, which is presented by Singer and Nicholson in 1972, and this is why it is accepted, because it is revealed from the electron microscopy. It is evident, it is observed through the electron microscope, so that is why it is the most acceptable model for all the scientists, that is fluid mosaic model. Now, what is the meaning of fluid mosaic model? According to this model, there are various minutes or points or features which will be discussed. That is fluid mosaic model. Why it is called fluid mosaic model? Because according to this model, membrane is like a sea of what? Lipids. That is, the word fluid is used for lipids. So in this case, because this is a fluid mosaic model, in this case these are the lipids, lipid bilayer. So this lipid bilayer act like a sea in which proteins, they are floating. These are the protein, intrinsic protein and extrinsic protein. They are not static but dynamic, because these protein inside in the lipids layer or in the sea of lipids, they are floating just like the pieces of iceberg, they are floating in the sea of water. So the presence of lipids and in the presence of protein, they can be imagined just like the pieces of what? Iceberg, which are protein. They are floating in the seawater. What is seawater? Here the seawater is the lipids according to the fluid mosaic model. And what are protein? Protein, they are just like pieces of iceberg, just like the pieces of iceberg, they are floating in the seawater. Here in the case of fluid mosaic model, the pieces of protein, they are floating in the sea of what? Lipids. So that is why it was given the name as fluid mosaic model. As I told you, the word fluid is used to denote the lipids or fluid, which can be imagined as sea of water, seawater, and the word mosaic is used for the protein movement. You can say the mosaic is a type of what? Pattern or special type of what? Arrangement of protein. So these are the salient point. The other point is that fluid mosaic model is dynamic in nature. It is not static. Dynamic means it is not static, but it is in continuous motion. That what is why the cell membrane is dynamic in nature, or in other words, it is not static in nature, because due to the movement of food, due to the movement of protein, that is crisscross movement or flip-flop movement. So this is all about the fluid mosaic model, which is presented by Singer and Nicholson, and this is the most acceptable model. According to this model, the lipid is composed or present in the form of what? Two bilayer, which is called lipid bilayer, which provide fluidity for the movement of what? Protein. And these are protein, that is intrinsic protein and extrinsic protein. Extrinsic protein, they are shown with the help of green marker, and intrinsic protein or integral protein, they are shown by red marker. So according to this model, fluid mosaic model, there are three components, as I have told you, that is protein, lipids and carbohydrate, and each component have its own role. So we will discuss the role of what is the role of protein, what is the role of lipids, and what is the role of carbohydrate, one by one. So let's talk about the role of protein. As I told you, protein is the major component according to the fluid mosaic model. Two types of protein, they are present. One is called the extrinsic protein. Extrinsic protein mean outer protein or peripheral protein, which are present on the surface of these lipids which are also called phospholipids. These are called phospholipids. Phospholipids. The lipids which are present in the cell membrane is called phospholipids. The lipids having phosphate group attached with them in the form of phosphatidic acid or phosphatidylcholine, which will be discussed in the chapter number 2, that is biological molecules. So on the surface of phospholipid are lipid layer, protein they are confined or present which are called extrinsic protein or outer protein. They are also smaller in size. So they are also called smaller protein because of its small size. Other protein which are embedded in the protein in the lipid layer, these protein they are called intrinsic protein. Outer protein, extrinsic protein, inner protein, which is also called inner protein. Inner protein are intrinsic protein or integral protein which are embedded in the fluid layer. And there are different types of intrinsic protein. Some are completely embedded in the fluid layer. So we can say that they are in complete darkness. In complete darkness. Other they are partially embedded. Partially embedded intrinsic protein which are half surface, half portion is on the surface and half portion they are embedded in the fluid layer. So they are called partially embedded protein. And these are the larger protein. Remember, extrinsic protein they are smaller protein, and intrinsic protein they are larger protein. Larger protein. Now what is the role of these protein? These protein, not only protein but lipids and carbohydrates, they provide functional diversity to the cell membrane. Whatever function performed by the cell membrane, because cell membrane is the important structure which perform different kinds of tasks, different types of metabolic activities. So these metabolic activities or functions or processes, they are performed by the presence of these chemical components, that is protein, lipids, carbohydrate. So that is why these chemical components provide functional diversity to the cell membrane or plasma membrane. So what is the role of protein? Because of protein, membrane is selectively permeable membrane. How membrane is selectively permeable membrane? Because it has selective in nature. It is very choosy. For example, if glucose concentration is less at inner side of the cell. For example, this is the cell membrane and this is the inside of the cell, that is the cytoplasm, and this is the outer side of the cell. So if here glucose is needed, so this glucose will pass through the plasma membrane and will reach to the cytoplasm to fulfill the demand of metabolic activities. Otherwise, if glucose concentration is sufficient, so no more glucose will be able to pass through the phospho layer or lipid layer of the plasma membrane, because lipid membrane will prevent the passage of ionic substances will be prevented by the lipid layer, but if they are needed, so they will be passed through by special channel proteins or carrier protein which are called proteases, and will reach to the cytoplasm to fulfill the demand of metabolic activity. So this property in the plasma membrane or cell membrane is because of protein, and because of the presence of protein, the cell membrane is called selectively permeable membrane, or cell membrane have selective permeability. Selective permeability in the plasma membrane or cell membrane is because of what? These protein, especially carrier protein, channel protein, which are also called permeases. Permeases, because ionic substances cannot pass the barrier of what? Phospholipid until they are attached with the permeases or the intrinsic or carrier protein to be reached to the other component of the cell. But if there is the demand of their substance, for example, as I told you, if glucose is needed, so glucose will pass through the cell membrane with the help of what? Permeases or channel or carrier protein and reach to the cytoplasm to fulfill the demand of that metabolic activity. Otherwise not. Now, second is, what is the role of lipids? What is the role of lipids? These are the lipids in the form of what? Phospholipids, which provide differential permeability to the plasma membrane. And because of the lipids, the membrane, they are called differentially permeable membrane. Differentially permeable membrane. And because of the presence of lipids, it will allow the movement of what? Only non-polar substances. Non-polar substances are those substances having no polar group, no charge group. For example, hydrocarbon. Hydrocarbon, they will easily pass through the phospholipids. While these lipids or phospholipids will prevent the movement of what? Ionic substances. Ionic substances which are consist of what? Ions, that is anions and cations. Anion and cations. For example, sodium chloride, potassium chloride are different kinds of salts. They will not pass by their own virtue to cross this barrier of what? Phospholipids until they are attached with the channel carrier protein or permeases. So the cell membrane is differentiable membrane, or differentiable permeability in the cell membrane is because of what? Lipids. It will allow the movement of what? Non-polar substances, but prevent the movement of what? Ionic substances. Ionic substances, if they are needed, they will pass through the permeases, channel or carrier protein, which are nothing but integral or intrinsic protein, which are larger protein of the plasma membrane. Now, third is what is the role of what? Carbohydrates. Role of carbohydrates. But before discussing the carbohydrate, the most important component of the plasma membrane is glycoprotein and glycolipids. Glycoprotein is the combination of what? That is membrane carbohydrates. This is the membrane carbohydrates and this is the protein. So the combination of glucose and protein gave rise to glycoprotein. While if the carbohydrates, they are attached with this is the lipids and these are the carbohydrates, when they are attached with each other, the combination is called glycolipid. This combination is called glycoprotein. So glycoprotein and glycolipids, they are collectively called glycocalyx. Glycoprotein and glycolipids, that is, when carbohydrate attached with the extrinsic protein, the combination is called glycoprotein. When the carbohydrate attached with the head of the hydrophilic head of the phospholipids, this combination, conjugated molecules, they are called glycolipids. So both are conjugated molecules, that is glycoprotein and glycolipids, they are collectively called glycocalyx. And glycocalyx act as cell coat or cell surface markers, because each membrane have its own unique combination of glycoprotein and glycocalyx, and these glycoprotein and glycocalyx provide membrane sensitivity against the antigens, against the food particles, against different kinds of stimuli, etc., or environmental conditions. So the most important role of the carbohydrate that when it attached with the glucose, membrane glucose, so this is called glycoprotein, and when they are attached with the membrane lipids, the combination is called, the conjugated molecule is called glycolipids, and both are collectively called glycocalyx. Glycocalyx. Now what is the role of what these glycocalyx and glycoprotein? They act as receptor site, because any kinds of what, that is antigen activity, that is the foreign substances, that is viruses, bacteria, fungi, anything, foreign particles, or any kinds of what stimuli, they will, the cell membrane will be activated, or you can say the cell membrane will respond towards the stimuli and antigen because of the presence of what? Cell surface markers or cell code in the form of glycoprotein and glycolipids, or in other words glycocalyx. So glycocalyx act as cell code or cell surface markers which provide receptor site, that is hormone receptor site for nerve impulses against the antigens. So these functions, they are provided by the presence of what? Glycocalyx, which is the combination of glycoprotein and glycolipids. Now what is the role of carbohydrates? Carbohydrates, they are involved, membrane carbohydrate, they are involved in the phagocytosis and pinocytosis. Phagocytosis, phago mean, that is, phago mean solid, that is food, and cytosis mean, that is the cell eating process. So when the incoming material, they are in the form of solid, that is food particles, so the cell membrane engulf these food particles, so this phenomenon is called phagocytosis. Phagocytosis means cell eating process. Cell eating process is called phagocytosis, while cell drinking process is called liquid. Pino mean liquid, cytosis mean, that is the drinking process. So pinocytosis is the cell drinking process when the incoming material, they are in the form of food, liquid. So this is the main role of food carbohydrate, that membrane carbohydrate, they are also involved in the phagocytosis, cell eating process, pinocytosis, cell drinking process. Also the permeases, that is integral protein, they are involved in the regulation of movement of material by the phenomenon of diffusion, that is the movement of substances or the movement of ions or molecules from the region of higher concentration towards the region of lower concentration. Osmosis is the movement of material or ions or molecules from the regions of higher towards the lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane, that is the plasma membrane, this is called osmosis. And the active transport, that is the active transport movement of ionic material against the concentration gradient, that is from the region of lower concentration towards the region of higher concentration. So definitely it will require energy. So the movement of material, it is regulated by permeases, that is the integral protein channels or carrier protein, that is by the phenomena of diffusion, osmosis and active transport. So this is all about the that is the definition of cell membrane, chemical composition of the cell membrane, structural model of the cell membrane, that is fluid mosaic model, salient feature or minutes of the fluid mosaic model. This is diagram of fluid mosaic model. Different components can be seen, that is lipid bilayer, which is consist of phospholipids, which can be imagined as sea of wood lipids, and these are protein which are embedded in this fluid layer. Some protein they are confined to the surface, they are called extrinsic protein. Some are embedded in the fluid layer, they are called intrinsic protein. Intrinsic protein they are larger protein, extrinsic protein they are smaller protein, and both play an important role. The extrinsic protein gave rise to the response towards the antigens, towards the stimuli, while intrinsic protein in the form of permeases, channel protein or tail protein, they are mainly involved in the movement of material, especially ionic substances, because they cannot pass through the barrier of wood, that is phospholipids or lipids. So they can pass through these permeases or intrinsic protein or integral protein. That is why they are called integral protein, because they are the integral part of the plasma membrane. And also we have discussed the role of protein, that because of protein the cell membrane have selective permeability in them. It will select specific substances which is needed for the functioning of wood cell or to be used in the different metabolic activities. So this is the role of wood protein. And what is the role of lipids? Because of the presence of lipids, membrane have differential permeability, because it will allow the non-polar substances, that is hydrocarbon, but prevent the ionic substances, that is the ions, anions and cations, for example sodium chloride, potassium chloride, and other such material. And what is the role of wood? Glycoprotein and glycocalyx, they provide receptor sites, that is hormone receptor sites, and it provide they are involved in the nerve impulses, they give response towards the antigens. So these properties in the cell membrane is because of what? Glycocalyx, which is the combination of glycoprotein and glycolipids, which are conjugated molecule. One is the combination of glucose and protein, the other is the combination of glucose and lipids. And in the last we have discussed that what is the role of carbohydrate. Because of carbohydrate, membrane carbohydrate, the cell membrane or cell is involved in the cell eating process. That is, any sort of material, if they are coming towards the cell membrane, so they form special type of extension, cell extension, just like the pseudopodia in the amoeba. So they suddenly immediately engulf these solid food particles. This cell eating process is called the phagocytosis, which is due to the cell membrane. And anything which is in the form of liquid or water, so they are engulfed by these cell extensions. So this process is called pinocytosis or cell drinking process. In the last we will discuss the function of wood or the role of plasma membrane. Plasma membrane is dynamic in nature, as I have told you, because it will perform different kinds of function. The diameter is different in plants and animals. In the case of plants, it is 7 nanometer in diameter, and it will allow the movement of certain substances freely, that is hydrocarbon, because of what? Lipids, and prevents the movement of what? Ionic substances, for example glucose, amino acids, and different kinds of salts. And this behavior of the cell membrane prevents the aqueous content of the cell from escaping. So this behavior of the cell membrane, that is to allow the movement of hydrocarbon or non-polar substances and prevent the movement of ionic substances, that is glucose and amino acid and other salts. So and because of this property, the material will be prevented from escaping from the cytoplasm of the cell towards the outer environment. Now, what is the function or role of the plasma membrane? The main function of the plasma membrane is the inflow and outflow of material across the cell. Material can be now we will discuss about the function or role of the plasma membrane. This is the plasma membrane or cell membrane which check the inflow and outflow of material across the cells from the outer environment towards the inner environment of the cell to maintain a healthy life or to maintain metabolic activities. First function is to obtain nutrients, because for healthy activities, for healthy metabolic activities, cell need different kinds of nutrients, and these nutrients, they are coming from the outer environment, which are from the neighboring cells. So these nutrients can pass through the barrier upward cell membrane to reach to the cytoplasm of the cell to be utilized in different metabolic activities. So to obtain nutrients, cell membrane or plasma membrane play an important role. Second is the excretion of waste substances. As a result of metabolic activities, different metabolites can be produced, and these metabolites are waste materials. They are toxic, they are poisonous until they are excreted out from the body. So this function is also performed by the cell membrane, because this is the cell membrane which is involved in the removal of waste poisonous substances which are called metabolites, that is in the form of urea or uric acid. Third is the secretion of useful substances. Different kinds of useful substances, they are produced by our cells, that is called gland cells, which make the endocrine system. Endocrine system is consist of glands. Different glands are present in our body, that is pituitary glands, sex glands, adrenal glands, thymus glands, and the secretion is called hormones, and these hormones, they play an important role in our growth and development. So hormones, they are secreted by one cells and they are absorbed by other cells via or through the cell membrane, that is the sex hormone, progesterone, androgens, testosterones, growth hormones, etc. Then plasma membrane, they are involved to maintain a proper ionic gradient or ionic concentration for the working of muscular activity and for the working of nervous activities. So in the nervous activity for the muscular activity, two important nutrients, that is calcium and magnesium, they are very important, and their ionic concentration or gradient is maintained by plasma membrane or cell membrane. Then another important function of cell membrane is to maintain a suitable pH, because enzymes which are the accelerator of the body, enzymes which are biological catalysts of the body, they need a specific pH for its working. So a specific pH is maintained by cell membrane. So that is why enzyme can work at its maximum, at its best. So again, cell membrane is involved to maintain a specific pH for the working of enzymes. So this is all about the cell membrane and its function, its chemical composition, structural model, which can be elaborated, which can be revealed from the diagram of the fluid mosaic model, and this is the role of that is what is the role of protein, what is the role of lipids, and what is the role of carbohydrate. Thank you very much.